I would like to introduce Sandra Richards. She's at Morgan Stanley, and she has many roles. She's a managing director, head of global sports and entertainment, head of segment sales and engagement. Yes, anytime Morgan Stanley needs to get something done, they call Sandra. And I'm so happy to call Sandra my friend. I mean, when I switched companies, she stayed with me, and I don't know, we just got that personal connection. But her time is so valuable, and I'm so happy that she's here. And the fact is, this event is going kind of great, and I'm looking forward to it continuing. And Sandra Richards, you are a modern revenue leader, and you have our attention.
So first of all, Kelvin, thank you so much. And by the way you were talking, I thought I should also get a car. The way you were coming out there like Oprah, you are a modern revenue leader and you get a car. So that's exactly what I was expecting. So maybe not a car, but I do love Haagen-Dazs ice cream. If you want to send me some of that and have it delivered, small, it's less expensive than a car. So first of all, thank you so much. Really appreciate your friendship and partnership going back a number of years in what we've been doing. And you've been with me when I was doing very little in small roles that Morgan Stanley has elevated and grown and kept the relationship. And you've been very supportive of that. So I just want to thank you and introducing me to this group as well. I didn't even realize I was coming on. I had to quickly put my earbuds on because I was taking notes of everybody else. So I had to drop my pen. I was like, oh shoot, he's saying my name. So, you know, while quite busy, one of the things that I've certainly learned in this space is the continuous learning. So my pen and my notebook was up, and you know, I have actually notes to share that I was actually really taking notes from everybody else speaking. That's what I found in this space for us. And so what I do at Morgan Stanley in our wealth management business is, yes, run our global sports and entertainment practice that was started in 2014. It's 190 financial advisors around the country that are designated to focus on sports and entertainment clients. And that is defined way beyond just the athletes or the entertainers that are in front of your camera, but those behind the scenes, the executives, social media stars, YouTube stars, and the like. And I do also the segment sales, which is effectively focusing on engaging the diverse and multicultural markets. And so the hybrid of the two has been really great, especially in the last couple of months of marrying the two of those focuses together to try to elevate what we bring, not only for our financial advisors to bear for resources, but also what we do for our clients. The one thing that I, you know, in this time with the virtual selling, the first thing that we did was certainly just check in with our team and just taking a pulse of how everyone was doing. We wanted to make sure that, you know, the mindset was right before we started going out and saying, okay, we want to quickly pivot and go, but just to check in to see how everyone was doing and how everyone was faring, you know, between family standpoint and also just, you know, business standpoint before we dived in and pivot and start coming out the gate with all of this stuff if they weren't ready for it. And thank goodness, you know, knock on wood, many of them were certainly okay and fine and ready to move forward. So that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that people were in a good headspace for where we wanted to go to next. So we quickly pivoted and realized that one, time was going to be an asset for us, because before, Kelvin, as you know said, being very busy, and I'm quite sure everybody on this Zoom has been extremely busy pre-pandemic, but I never really had time. I was constantly on a plane, in my car, driving to the city, you know, doing phone calls. I don't like taking the train, so you know, I was always stuck in traffic trying to get somewhere, and so, you know, was very busy. So in this time, again, putting aside of, you know, what has this pandemic has bared, but on the blessing side was time became an asset. And I figured out how to navigate the time a little bit more. And marrying the time with technology became much more scalable for us. So we were able to do a lot of the events that we were doing in person and leverage them to scale and reach a lot of people, because of course I'm based in New York. A lot of our stuff happened in New York, but I have national responsibility. So it's hard for us to do, bring an event with Mary J. Blige to Idaho. Probably not going to happen. But we were able to do it with technology and this time and scale. So everybody felt they were on the same playing field because they were all, viewing this from the same technology standpoint. So that was one of the things that we did, was looking at what we were already doing well and what was working, and does it translate? And it certainly did. And so we took a lot of that stuff and translated a lot of our client events. We didn't do, for us, in my role, certainly there's the products and services that we offer, but more of the stuff that we focus on, especially in this space, is what are our clients needing? What are they asking for? And it was more so a lot of holistic things that we were looking at for our clients, like, navigating your time, managing remote work environment, offering them the things that would help them live their best life in in the current environment they were in. So not looking at, let us talk to you about this next ETF and all of this other stuff. It wasn't that. It was more so like, what's the health benefits of tea and drinking tea? And that was probably one of our best events, is that we actually had a tea sommelier come in or virtually and demonstrate how you actually make tea. I didn't know I was burning my tea bags. Apparently I was. And sometimes that's why my tea was tasting bitter. But now I learned how to do my tea and what the health benefits of tea was. And those were the things that we were doing. Like, what else do our clients need? Learning how to meditate. We did that session online. We actually had a great event where we talked to Jill Scott with our annual Go Red breakfast, which we ended up doing virtually. Again, learning so many nuggets from these people that typically we would only be able to hold, 200 people in a room. But when we were able to scale, we were able to meet 2,000-3,000 people at a time for these kinds of things. So this kind of worked. And then, as the previous speaker said, I think this is not going away, certainly not for me. It's going to be hard for me to be on a plane. So if anybody want to take my frequent flyer miles, I'm happy to donate them to a charity, because I will still probably be sitting right here at this, don't tell nobody, sitting on this chair looking through Zoom. But the one thing that I think that has been extremely important for us in getting our advisors, especially over this kind of medium, is how do you tell your story better? And how do you keep people interactive and engaged in this environment? And especially if we move from telephone to Zoom to all this other technology, how are you engaging? And there's two books that in particular that I will share with you. But what we did was make sure that we engaged our advisors on things on how do you stay connected to your clients via social media, and how do you leverage content to keep yourself relevant in this space, because you're not getting to see them as much, but everybody is certainly on social media doing a lot more than they were. How are you leveraging that space? And then the biggest thing for us is, again, how do you tell your story? And how do you tell your story that is captivating and getting people to convert, whether it's your clients to get you more business, or people that have been sitting on the fence for a long time and you haven't been able to convert them? What is the story that you're telling them in this environment? And there was two books that I will share with you, and I'll wrap up in a second, on storytelling that I think is pretty fascinating. And one of them, we actually had a Zoom call, and I had to cut it off because of the Q&A was going so very long. One of them, her name is Kendra Hall, and she has a book out called Stories That Stick, how storytelling can captivate customers, influence audience, and transform your business. Very insightful book. She's pretty dynamic herself, but how telling the stories get people to, and the elements of telling the story, and getting yourself out of the mind frame that you're bragging about yourself or you're talking too much, and really getting the point across, and not about you, but what's the story that's going to connect with who you're trying to get to convert to do anything, or influence to do anything. And the other one is Unleashing the Power of Storytelling: Win Hearts, Change Minds, and Get Results, by Rob Bezenbach. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I'm gonna find him to do an event with him too. But I think, again, the art of storytelling, whatever business that you're in, is how are you positioning your story to get people to convert and influence them to move to action? And that's all of what we're doing. Everything that we're building, from our virtual events to our learning series for internally for our advisors, That is what we're trying to get them to do, is to tell the story better. And it's not the Morgan Stanley story. Like, the Morgan Stanley story is there, but you're in the brand. What is it about that the brand that you can take that is applicable to you that you're going to extend to that person? And so that's what we've been really focused on, and really excited about that, and really happy to be here. And then I certainly will be taking notes on the other speaker. And Kelvin, just a reminder, is Haagen-Dazs vanilla Swiss almond. And I like the crunchies in the middle, like the cookie crunchies. You can add them a layer and then put them more. And if you want to put a scoop of brownie a la mode in there, they got a little bit of alcohol, but you can put that in there too. And then I'll be fine.